The following podcast contains explicit language
and spicy takes
that may not be suitable for all listeners. Viewer discretion is advised. I'm the Doctor.
And I'm the companion.
And this is
Dango
Who? It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yep.
All right, that's completely off the cuff.
You're the host of this show.
I'm the host. I'm the one who gets to intro the intro.
Yeah, and I'm the scrappy companion who you have to explain everything to.
Exactly.
It's true. For
you and the audience.
So, Doctor, what are we doing here?
Well, today, so the end of the world kind of happened.
You mean in the Oh!
Ah.
So that's what happened during March.
Yeah, that's what happened during March. Also, anime is trash. So,
it's true.
We decided on our own to do this little side project. I've been meaning to get Max to watch Doctor Who for the longest time now, since we've known each other.
Yep.
And while I'm not working and you're working from home still,
yep,
we have a little extra time, so we started watching Doctor Who. And we figured, we have some thoughts. You know, it's better than anime, so we should probably put it up on the channel.
If anyone's wondering why we're not doing coverage of anime, is because I don't know how
There's
bad you
lot.
burnt out, but I burnt out on anime during winter because a lot of it was just so bad that I just completely burnt out.
Yeah,
we haven't watched anime since.
We have not, honestly.
And we were having fun watching Doctor Who, and honestly, Doctor Who is pretty much anime.
Yeah, it's British anime.
Yeah, it's my favorite anime studio, the BBC. That it's not. That's a joke.
That's a joke. But yeah, no, so we just decided we are going to take a break. We have other plans. This wasn't what we actually had planned for the channel.
This just kind of serendipitously happened.
Yeah, so enjoy them. They're going to be like little bonus videos.
Yeah, and by little we mean like several hours long.
Okay,
so in case you're wondering, right now, don't look at the screen. Yeah. Set your phone down, just put your computer to the side and go play Animal Crossing. Go do something else. We are your background noise for today.
Yes, this is our podcast.
There may be some visual stuff at the end of the episode, but honestly, you can just listen to us talk. Yeah. There's not going to be footage of the episodes.
No.
This is not a video essay. This is a podcast.
Yep, that we put up on YouTube because podcasting fees are expensive.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So how this is going to go is, this episode we're going to be talking about the entirety of Season 1, the entire 9th Doctor, our general thoughts on the overall structure, the overall arc, character arcs, and also going into each episode in detail, kind of talking about what we liked, what we didn't like. Kind of like more typical of how we were doing our reviews, but a lot more casual.
And in case that you don't know anything about Doctor Who, don't mind that alarm going off. In case you know nothing about Doctor Who, we're going to give in-depth summaries of every episode, so you can just go, what the fuck?
What the fuck happened?
What do you mean there's an alien that survives only on sex? That's not Doctor Who. That's Torchwood, which we're also going to be reviewing.
We will also be talking about Torchwood in chronological order of when it would occur.
And also, we want to say this right now that, we are preparing these in advance, actually. Yes. We are actually in the middle of Torchwood, right now.
Torchwood Season 1 right now. So we've watched Season 1 and 2 of New Who.
And we're making it a point to not release any episodes until we're basically 3 seasons in advance.
Yeah.
We really appreciate if people are nice to us in the comments. Don't be an asshat. Lesson of the day, don't be an asshat.
I don't know how the Doctor Who fandom is doing right now. Yeah. It's been a long time since I've checked in.
It used to be really bad. It used to be really bad.
So,
almost as bad as the Sherlock fandom. Which is, on some connections there, but anyhow.
There's some DashCon connections there.
Don't be an asshat.
Yeah, don't spoil anything. I've watched some I think I finished Season 6. God, I can't remember. But yeah, I've seen all of Torchwood, including the American season, and I've seen, I think, up to Season 6 of New Who. Series 6. Whatever.
So we would appreciate an abstinence when it comes to spoilers.
Yeah.
Also, just, laugh to yourself in the background. Don't post the comment. Write the comment out and then delete it and be like, you're gonna get wrecked. Everyone after Dr. 10 fucking sucks. So we're looking forward to 6 seasons of
Matt Smith.
Yeah, Matt Smith and then Old Man.
Ugh.
Man. The only reason we're doing this is because I want to watch New Who. That's all I want. Literally, that's what I'm signed up for here. Yeah. And I gotta tell you, I gotta get up really early in the morning to be excited for old white man and young woman have adventures in time and space. Yeah. I have to wake up really early.
Underage white woman compared to him.
So
I think she's white. I don't know.
Anyhow.
Anyway, we don't have to deal with that. Today we're going to be talking about Christopher Eccleston's brief time as the Doctor, as the Ninth Doctor.
Also, in case you're wondering about the tone of this podcast, it's going to be very conversational. Again, this is not a video essay. Get out of here. We're not doing that.
We will analyze episodes, but it's not going to be like, and according to this source on Film Studies of 101.
Yep. And there's also going to be swearing.
Yes.
So if that bothers you, get the fuck out. Anyhow.
Anyway.
So we should probably begin from the top. Kitty, what the hell is Doctor Who?
Doctor Who is, I believe, the longest running TV show in existence, including its brief stint of not running on TV, where this season came up. The New Who, as a lot of people refer to it as, starting in 2005. It came back again after a brief hiatus of some many years. You'll have to scroll up.
I do have to scroll up.
Yes, the Ninth Doctor.
1989.
There was a movie, I believe, between then, radio stuff and stuff like that. Yeah. But as far as TV goes, it had not aired since 1989.
I was born in 1989.
Yeah, so. And 2005 is when it started airing again as New Who.
Yeah. So this is a return of what many consider to be one of the classic science fiction characters, the Doctor, who happens to be the last remaining member of an alien race of people who happen to be able to travel through time.
Yep.
As he does so, usually with the help of a human companion who serves as our point of view character.
Usually young female, cute.
Young female, usually.
Yep. Not always. We have a tin dog.
Yep. That's true.
But yeah, no. Doctor Who. It's like a classic for a lot of British people. Like it's kind of every Christmas they would go and watch the Christmas episode.
It's true.
So yeah, I'm excited to talk about it.
Yep. And I hope the rest of you are excited for experimentation of British accents as we are practicing and enjoying this show. So Please enjoy our terrible accents to all of our friends over the pond.
We'll get to the Welsh accents in Torchwood.
Yes.
God.
Yes. But anyhow,
blessed be.
Want to just take it from the top with the very first episode of the Ninth Doctor?
Let's go. All right, beginning us off in the New Who series, we have episode 1 of series 1, Rose, written by Russell T Davies, which originally aired in 2005.
So this is, in this episode, of course, we're introduced to the 9th incarnation of the Doctor, and for those of you who have no idea what Doctor Who is and how it works, the main character of the Doctor, he has been the same character, it's the same person, just that Time Lords, which might be, in retrospect, a bit of a edgelordy name, the Time Lords.
The Time Lords. It's fine. It was from the 60s or 50s.
The Shadow Lords.
Yeah.
They regenerate into basically, they don't die, they just basically are reborn like a phoenix on the spot, kind of like that.
Into different forms.
They're the same person, but they look different, and a bit of the character carries through. So in the performances, there's this interesting interplay where actors are basically acting off of someone else's version of the Doctor.
But doing their own version as well.
Doing their own version as well. There's a little bit of that when we go from Eccleston to Tennant.
Yes. So this episode introduces our 9th Doctor, who has just dealt with a lot of the consequences of the Time War, losing his entire race, defeating the Daleks. Ha ha ha. Everyone is laughing. It's
everyone's
fine.
laughing.
And our main season arc that begins in this episode is the Bad Wolf arc. Every season has its own little arc, basically, and we're going to be talking about the Bad Wolf, and we'll kind of touch on what that is as we get further into the season. But the first episode introduces Rose, who is our companion for the 9th Doctor.
Played by
Billie Piper. Love her. It introduces us to her world, what her regular everyday life is like, and then boom, in comes the Doctor with all this alien technology. We get to see her trying to grapple with, what the heck, aliens are real. Also, these living plastic things are attacking us. And
this is far back in the Wayback Machine, to the point where the episode is in 3x4 resolution.
Oh, it looks...
it's the BBC, so the budget is a shoestring and maybe a couple steel cans. We have the enemy alien race in this episode is a race of plastic mannequins, plastic aliens.
And then a big goop pile controlling it.
A big 3D goop pile.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, I'm sure it looked better back in the day, but today it looks...
I don't think it did.
I mean, we're watching the SD, to be fair.
Yeah, that's true. We're watching it in SD as well. But it's just to maintain the
flavor.
Yeah, exactly. It's that flavor.
Yeah.
And backstory on us. previously on Dango Duo, you tried to make me watch Doctor Who back when we first met.
Yep. We got to like episode 4 or 5.
No, we did get to Aliens of London.
You remember Harriet Jones.
I remember episode 1. I remember episode 2.
You fell asleep. We both fell asleep during
episode 3. And then I remember having seen episode 4. And that's where we stopped.
Yes.
And then, almost a decade later, and us being married, we figured it was time to try again.
It's time again. Time to try again. That sounds like a...
makes it sound like
a baby. But
yeah. In this economy?
God,
in this quarantine?
Yeah, no.
So... this first episode, again, we get Rose. And for me, watching Doctor Who, especially this first season, and also Tennant's, it's been a lot of like, oh, I know that gift set. Or I've seen the gift set. Or I know that quote.
Yep.
So I've been playing that game where I've been trying to reverse engineer where the quotes come from.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know the famous gif of the Doctor dancing in the second episode?
Yeah, exactly. And a part of me is looking for those gifs.
Yeah.
And there's been times where I'm like, this sounds familiar. Why do I know this? Oh, I've seen this gift set.
I've seen this on Tumblr.
Cybermen are superior to Dalek in only one way.
They are better at dying. That's from season 2.
Yeah, that's from season 2, but
we'll get there.
We'll get there eventually.
So let's just start, let's just start. What were your first impressions upon seeing episode 1? If you can remember from the first time, or also just your first impressions. Now as well.
I feel like, and someone's gonna hate this, but just the comparison to anime is very, very keen to me, because the Doctor Who and the fiction that I like the most is centered around the fantastical. The Doctor is a keenly alien character, and there's a contrast between the mundane and the fantastical in Doctor Who, especially you get to see Rose Tyler's everyday life and how boring it is, and I feel like that's almost like the key of her character, especially
that's the setup for her entire character,
and her arc is like I don't want to go back to having a mundane everyday life. It's like how do you go back to being a normal person after being the companion to the Doctor? Also,
how do you go back to being a normal person after a pandemic? That feels everything's very true right now
in these uncertain times. Let's just come out and say that the budget is limited and it feels janky in corners.
The best jank is when like Mickey's like hand gets glued to the trash can and it looks so fake and bad.
And you kind of have to take that
with a grain of salt.
You just take it in stride and be like, this is old, and they never had the money to have the production value
up until like more recently, where CG's gotten cheaper. And they can actually
and I forget what episode it was in season 2 where I'm like, oh my god, it's Impossible Planet.
Yeah, Impossible Planet.
That fucking blew my goddamn fucking mind.
Oh, we'll fucking get there.
But we'll get there on the next episode. Right now we're still in season 1, and my first impression of this is that I really, really, really loved Eccleston's performance as the Ninth Doctor. There is, and this goes through the whole season, but there's this element of, and I know that they weren't talking about this. They weren't trying to talk about PTSD, but they handled they handle his character and the reality that he's a survivor of war, and there's a lot of these moments where you feel that the Doctor himself is just putting on the persona of this happy-go-lucky kind of goof, and then
to deal with the fact that he has lost his entire species, everyone he's ever known.
Yeah, and I feel like Eccleston really portrays the character who basically on the turn of a dime can be like, fuck, I'm bombarded with all these bad memories, and he explodes at times.
He lashes out,
and he lashes out.
Especially in the next episode. Yeah. I'll talk about it when we get there, but there was a part in the next episode that was like, oh, yeah, you can kind of tell.
Yeah. And, and again, I feel like there's a lot of nuance to Eccleston that I'm missing on because I didn't see, 50 years of Doctor Who leading up to that point, or 30 years, whatever it was.
Yeah, same difference.
And, he's not wearing a big fuzzy coat, and he's not wearing a scarf and a funny hat. He actually basically has a shaved head and is wearing a leather jacket. And, it's 2005, and there's, pseudo-techno music in the background, and it really does feel like it's a revival of a character. And I feel, and I sense that there's this depth that I'm not fully understanding.
But you can still, follow along and be like, okay, this is what he is now.
Yeah, and it feels like someone made the conscious choice of having him look and behave that way.
Certainly.
And again, Eccleston is just so charming as the Doctor. It's endearing. It makes you go, I want to see what's up with him. And then there's all those personal moments where he kind of like, shows you that there's more going on under the surface.
For example, in this episode, when he talks to Rose, is like, I can feel the planet turning and moving.
Yeah, I love that.
They have that really intimate like moment almost where, he tells her what he is essentially without saying it.
Yeah.
And that's a really great performance where it's like suddenly we slow down and we get to see a lot of the Doctor, of this new Doctor, this first time seeing him.
Yeah.
And then back to fun adventures.
Yep. And I gotta admit that, I have my own biases when it comes to media and what I like in fiction, and my shit in fiction is character-based drama, character motivations, characters wanting something, doing something, being complex characters. And that's what I like the most in Doctor Who so far that we have seen. We've already seen, we're in three seasons into this series, and I like the focus on characters. The funny, wacky adventures are less interesting to me because I feel like it often devolves into, it's a kind of whodunit. We're backwards trying to figure out who the aliens are and what the problem is so we can figure out the solution. It's really more of a whodunit kind of format, and that's okay.
Yeah, and that works for certain episodes.
Yeah, and it doesn't work for others. But definitely, we come out of the gate with the introduction of our central cast, who will be coming back later. We have Mickey, we have
I love Mickey, Jackie.
We have Jackie, and even though there's a lot of first draft kind of,
it definitely feels early 2000s, like. This is like our first foray into what will become a big series.
And I'll just say this right now. What I meant by first draft, like, it really does feel like these characters are a little bit rougher on the edges, except the Doctor. The Doctor is very much centered.
Yes.
But I will say that Russell T Davies does a fantastic job at taking all of these pieces and having them have a complete arc by the end of season 2.
Yes.
But we will get there when we get there.
We will get there. For now, Jackie's hilarious.
Jackie is
There's
hilarious.
a strange man in my bedroom.
And
I'm in my dressing gown. Anything could happen.
Yeah. It won't. No. And it's just like, Eccleston is just so charming.
He's very charming.
And that's my big takeaway of this. And this first episode has, I like the moment where he's talking with the plastic monster, and it's like, because of these things, like you can't be doing this. Like, we have these laws now.
The Shadow Proclamation, etc.
Yeah. And it's referenced later, and it's kind of almost brought up as a slight joke.
They bring it up again and again.
But it's just like it had this sense that there was a lot more going on with this character. Like, it felt to me like picking up a comic book, knowing that this character has 50 years of history.
Exactly. Yeah, but not feeling like, I'm missing out on a lot of stuff. It's like,
I don't feel I need
to
go
jump back in.
I don't feel like I need to go and watch everything in Doctor Who. But
partially
I definitely
because not everything's available.
We
recorded over some stuff.
It's like the BBC actually just lost the tapes.
Yeah, so
it's one of those things.
Exactly. But as far as the first episode goes, it's really fun.
The jankiest thing is literally the CG and the monsters themselves. It's a little silly.
What about Plastic Mickey?
But Plastic Mickey is slightly charming in that he's like basically
so
like a dark-skinned Ken doll, basically, right. Which I slightly appreciate. The one thing that's unforgivable in this episode, okay, is that Plastic Mickey says, tells Rose is like he almost does like the Ninja Turtles, like pizza. And then they go to have pizza, but they're at a fucking restaurant and they're not eating pizza. And I'm like, there is no way this flashy steel chrome restaurant is serving pizza. How fucking dare you?
And then the Doctor comes by with like a bottle of wine. Shit.
That's the one thing where I'm like, how dare you?
How dare you?
They are not serving pizza in this restaurant.
It's too fancy.
It's covered in chrome. If anyone was eating with their greasy pizza hands, there would just be stains everywhere.
It's true.
So I'm going to say 2 stars. No. I like this as an introduction of the Doctor.
Yeah.
And he's fantastic.
Fantastic.
Is there anything you want to say?
No. Let's move on. And now, episode 2, The End of the World, also written by Russell T Davies.
Which aired originally in April 2nd, 2005.
Ooh!
Kitty, The End of the World.
As we know it.
So this episode has, now that Rose has joined the Doctor on their fun time adventures, the Doctor takes Rose to the end of Earth, so far into the future that
the sun is
about to explode, and a group of aliens are basically sitting on a space station, getting ready to watch the Earth get incinerated. This, of course, so far into the future that humanity has spread across the stars, and humans don't exist anymore as we understand them,
and they're not even on Earth anymore.
Or Earth was was apparently kept around as a kind of like museum, basically, a
memorial, essentially,
and like they were even holding back the explosion of the sun, and now that they believed it was time for Earth to go, they were gonna let the sun finally burn.
So we get all these rich aliens coming to watch the Earth explode, essentially.
Yep, pretty much. And episode is basically a whodunit.
It's a whodunit as little nano machines take over the space station.
Little nano machines.
Little nano machines with their little spider crawlies.
I don't know.
Listen, if they didn't kill anybody, I would be super down with those little spiders.
I don't know. I like that they come back, by the way.
I know.
They use those models for another alien later on.
Well, it's the same alien.
It's true. I have a serious OSHA violation question happening right now, okay? Why did you design your space station so that you could take off the solar shield and get incinerated by the ultraviolet radiation rays of the fucking sun?
You know... Just in case.
That's like having a button on your house that is like here's the thermostat, there's cool, there's hot, and then there's
fire.
The house actually burns down.
Yeah, listen.
That's a bit of a contrivance. There's the freaking blue skin
vinegars.
Fuck! How dare you? How dare you say the name? The blue men group. The blue men race.
Yep. And women. There's a woman.
It's true.
I like her little character.
Yeah, she dies.
Yeah,
but it's okay.
It's fine. Like half these characters fucking die.
So this episode, of course, has the best bit, which is the ancient traditional human ballad of "Toxic" by Britney Spears, which is where most of the budget went for this season. Really.
Yeah, well, this episode for sure. And we actually also get the introduction of the face of Bo, who will come back a lot.
That's true. That's true. So. The face of Bo, and of course, Cassandra.
Cassandra.
I don't know why I want to say Lee Morris. I don't know.
That is a voice actor.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, Cassandra Lee Morris is the voice of fucking Morgana.
Yes.
Fuck. Anyhow,
the last human Cassandra.
The last human also
who is a piece of skin.
It's a piece of skin. This episode is a whodunit.
A whodunit. As everybody starts dying around the space station, Earth insemination happening. Yep. Insemination, that's the wrong word.
Insemination.
Incineration.
The last time Earth got inseminated was a long time ago. Yeah, I like
the face of Bo is pregnant again.
That's a line from the...
That's
a line from the show.
Yeah, that the face of Bo gets pregnant.
God, anyhow, that's a good save. I feel like this second episode, encapsulates what a science fiction show has to do, which is to remind you that our mortal lives are pitiful and tiny in comparison to the endless scope of the world, and that nothing is outside of the grasp of an untimely end. I feel like it's that slight sense of depression that is activated by knowing that the Earth will someday die.
Explode. That our lives will all end, and in the grand scheme of things won't necessarily matter.
Take it from someone who's written several books about death. That it's something that you need to talk about.
Yeah, and they do it really well. Especially, I
feel like they do it really well.
The moment when the doctor modifies Rose's phone so she can call home.
Yeah, I
really like that bit of basically being we're at the end of the world, but you're still connected to your mom.
You can still call your mom.
Yeah, your mom.
Definitely the gif of the doctor dancing.
Yeah, always classic. Or I give you air from my lungs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I like Tree Lady.
Yeah, Tree Lady was fine.
She exploded into fire, but
and
that was also an OSHA violation. How would you have that pathway along the series of fans?
And you have to hold down the switch so that the fans stop.
Yeah. I feel like this episode, now that I'm looking at all of them, this is one of the weaker ones, I feel like.
This is definitely a little bit weak. And I don't know if this is time to just talk about it, but one of the things that I remember talking to you about when we first started watching Doctor Who, and I remember something that I found kind of baffling, is that the Doctor doesn't have any abilities or powers. He doesn't even have a gun. He has a sonic screwdriver that just makes funny noises. Where is it?
I don't know where your the screw. Oh, I see it, actually.
There you go. Let me just fix your headphones real quick.
There you go.
There you go. We've fixed your headphones now. Now they work.
Now they actually work.
Now you just get free Wi-Fi wherever you go. You had this forever in one of your drawers.
Yep.
And I remember that I'm like, this is a cool little prop.
Yep. It's the screwdriver. Anyhow, it's the 9th screwdriver.
I was kind of baffled by the fact that the Doctor has no powers.
Yeah.
Has
he's just
special
smart.
abilities.
And he has a screwdriver.
And in a way, I don't like it, but in a way, I see how this really works for the fiction, because without the Doctor having any special ability to just kind of, stop time or, or kill people by snapping his fingers, this puts the Doctor on an equal footing with his companions, which means that the companions are as likely to have the solution to the problem as the Doctor, which I think really, equalizes the playing field and pushes it away from a kind of almost like a Gandalf-esque situation where Gandalf is just so overpowered and so much more powerful than Frodo that like it feels like the relationship isn't equal.
Yeah, whereas in this, like it the companions get to show their smarts and, they get to collaborate with the Doctor really well.
It's true.
Like I was saying when we were talking about the previous episode, this is the one episode where I feel like his characterization goes a little, like, wonky. The Doctor's, he gets a little, like, too harsh, but, like, I kind of see where it comes from in this episode. Like, he goes, "Oh, all you stupid apes," or whatever, to Rose at one point, which will come back, but it's a little harsh in this, just in the second episode.
Yeah, this is definitely not one of the strongest episodes in this season.
No, and which is funny because Cassandra comes back.
Yeah, and so does the face of Bo is critical for...
is a very important character. It will be very important for season 3.
So it's weird. It feels like one of those first draft things where like you have all these pieces, and then once you have the time to really revise and come up with better parts for the story, you find uses for all these characters.
Yeah, this is very early, but it's not a bad episode. Certainly, it's just not one of the weaker of season 1.
Yeah, and it's what happens when you have 13 episodes. Some are going to be hits and some are going to be misses.
Yeah, Russell T Davies, he's a hit and miss. I guess
I think he's mostly hits, honestly, especially considering that he's the showrunner for this first chunk of Doctor Who. Yeah. And considering how we have Moffat to look forward to, I think that we should just give credit where credit is due. And considering, the adversities of reviving Doctor Who, I think Russell T Davies did a pretty good job. Let's be entirely honest.
Pretty good job.
And then Moffat's gonna go fuck everything up, but that's life.
For now.
That's life,
We'll talk about Moffat during the season.
We'll talk about... I have a lot to say about Moffat and his episode.
Yeah.
His 2 episodes.
But
is there anything else you want to say about The End of the World?
It's alright.
You're alright.
Episode 3, The Unquiet Dead, written by Mark Gatiss?
Gatiss. You got this.
You got this. Airing on the 9th of April, 2005. Another weak one.
Okay, it
was actually better than I remembered it, but that wasn't saying much.
Okay, there's so much to say about this episode that is absolutely nothing.
Yes.
I feel that...
we should describe it first.
Okay, so in The Unquiet Dead...
We go back to old-timey London.
Old-timey Victorian London.
Or something like that.
And we have Charles Dickens.
Basically, performing a play, and suddenly, people are rising from the dead. We got basically zombies.
Oh, here's something more interesting than this episode. The reason why he was doing that is because this was before copyright stuff, so you had a lot of instances where people would just like make copies of his work and sell it, and he was making no money from that, and making barely any money from his published work.
Right.
That him and a lot of writers started basically performing their books as a way to actually make money. And a couple people have actually brought that back in the form of like Neil Gaiman and stuff like that.
Shit.
Just like literally performing your works as a means to continue to make money from your work.
Right, exactly.
Now, this episode, we have people coming back from the dead, and we learn eventually that it's due to these race of gas-based aliens.
Yeah, exactly.
Who are trapped in the rift.
In the rift, which will come back, and...
it's funny that... like, this episode it's a mixed bag of a lot of things that are important to the plot and the series later on, because we also have...
the introduction of Gwyneth. Which, okay. For one thing, I forgot she died... So I was like, she's going to have a child that will, be the descendant. No. Apparently, Gwyneth just gets reincarnated later as Gwen in Torchwood, which makes no fucking sense.
Okay.
I thought at least her descendants.
Hold the fuck up, okay? There is... Fuck, it's snoring so loud. There is no confirmation that it's actually Gwyneth being reborn.
But it's just the same actress. It's the same actress. And her name is Gwen.
Sometimes things happen, Kitty, okay? I would very much rather believe that it's a coincidence, a quinkydink, than it being, like, on purpose, because that's dumb. Yeah. But it's funny, because if we had recorded this video, like, a week ago, I would have been like, this episode's kind of lame. But now, in retrospective, now that we started watching Torchwood, and
And we get to talk more about the rift.
I imagine that you actually probably had a lot more fun watching this than me, because I had no attachment to Gwyneth.
Yeah.
But you having seen all of Torchwood,
yeah.
and being like, oh my god, there she is, playing a character.
Playing the same character, but in the 1800s?
Not really. She doesn't have psychic powers.
Yeah.
In the end of this episode, we end up learning that, the gas monsters were trying to break into the world through the rift in between dimensions and worlds and all that shit.
And Gwyneth sacrifices herself to keep them at bay.
Yeah, and Charles Dickens...
says he's going to write about ghosts, and
but he's
apparently dies a few months later, basically. Yep. Happy ending, everyone. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas. The BBC is good at timepieces because they have all those customs and all that stuff,
ready
and that's fine.
The actor who plays Charles Dickens is really good at it. He did a really good job.
He did a fine job. I have to wake up really early in the morning to be excited about
Charles Dickens.
Fuck, you're not wrong. That's it basically.
Yeah,
it's an old timey.
And those are so hit or miss. The old-timey episodes are so hit or miss.
Yeah, especially because, since they're set in a time where no one has any inkling of what an alien is, we have to spend time explaining what an alien entity is. As opposed to episodes, even in the 50s, they can be like, oh yeah, you mean them,
them
comic
UFOs.
Books. Then comic books.
Yeah. I feel like they do a good job of establishing, explaining to Charles Dickens, that they're not really ghosts, they're gas aliens, essentially. And I like that they take that time to explain it.
And I want to say that, as an episode, it flows very well.
It does.
And it has the whole, playing on with, gas and the gas of the house and
all the
lamps.
Yeah.
And it's clever and it works. It's just kind of not interesting to you and I as viewers.
Yeah, and we get our first big name drop of Bad Wolf.
Yeah.
Where with Gwyneth, she can psychically see into Rose's mind. She says the big bad wolf, and kind of freaks out. But
yep.
That'll come back. I think it actually comes back in the next episode, because I think that's graffitied on the TARDIS in the next episode.
Yeah. All throughout the season, we've had
Bad Wolf will be
showing up.
Our arc.
Do you have anything to say about? This is the episode where we fell asleep the first time we watched it.
This is the episode. Honestly, was better on a rewatch. But again, it's all right, man.
It's just kind of all right.
It's just kind of all right.
I
really do like Gwen's actor.
Yeah, no,
she's really good.
She's very likable, and she definitely. I can imagine why Russell T Davies was like, "Yo, we need someone to be the protagonist of Torchwood. I'm just gonna take you."
And he will do this a lot.
He's gonna do it on the next episode.
In the next episode, we will see somebody coming back for Torchwood, introduced here. And then in season 2, we also see we get to see the third companion actually show up as a completely different character.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. That was so weird.
Yeah, Russell T Davies just likes to grab people, and he's like, "I'm gonna bring you back for later."
Yeah, that's cool though.
Which I like.
And at least in a historical context, this episode has some importance.
Yeah. It's honestly it introduces the rift, which will come back. Season 2. It's kind of a big arc for it. Yeah. It's exciting.
It's exciting.
Not this episode, but the things it brings up. Now, episode 4, Aliens of London, and its second part, episode 5, World War III, both written by Russell T Davies, airing the 16th of April 2005 and then the 23rd of April 2005.
I didn't know we were doing a double feature. I thought we were going to do one and then the other, but this makes more sense.
No, let's just smush them.
Aliens of London.
Boy, I love when the aliens just fart all the time.
That is... maybe it's just because it's weird. There's the duality of Dango Duo. We say fucking shit all the time, but fart jokes, I don't allow fart jokes.
Not my thing.
Not my thing at all.
No.
I would rather something more with essence. Come on, Jesus fucking Christ.
Anyway, so this episode...
this episode is about an alien spaceship crashes into London, destroys the Big Ben.
Yep.
And the Doctor and his companion learn of a conspiracy by a family of aliens to basically take over the British government to create a false crisis with the ultimate goal of causing a nuclear war to turn Earth into a nice little toasty, crunchy rock to sell for money.
Yep. That was really good.
In the course of this episode, we're introduced to the fucking
The Slitheen. From Rexacorcophallopatorius.
How the fuck can you remember that?
I don't know. Listen, my brain is stuffed with useless shit.
I was gonna have to roast you.
That's fine.
You forgot our anniversary, but you remember Rexacorcophallopatorius.
Listen, Rose struggled with it too, so it got in my brain.
Also,
I remember our anniversary.
Yeah.
I can't remember the year because I'm really bad with years.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, we've been married for 1,000 years.
Yeah, basically. Feels like it.
Yep.
We also get. That's a good thing.
Hey, isolation. So this episode
we also get introduced to Harriet Jones.
Yes, VP of Nolan North.
Something like that.
Yep. Harriet Jones is a fucking treat, by the way. I gotta say, I love
her.
Her speech in episode 5 is fucking amazing.
So good.
Like, God, I got chills.
Yeah. I'll talk more about Harriet Jones when we get to season 2, but I really love her introduction, and like she kind of comes back like I think once before the season finale where like Jackie's like, oh yeah, she's prime minister now.
Yeah. She's giving like a speech or something.
Yeah. But yeah, Aliens of London / World War III.
Yep. And we're introduced to baby-faced aliens. Baby-faced claw aliens.
Oh, the Slitheen, yeah.
Yeah, the Slitheen.
Slitheen. It's kind of another weird episode. A lot of season 1 is very like, well, this is weird because it's the first time you've kind of seen it, so they're kind of figuring out what to do.
And again, it's a kind of first draft thing. Like, it's a kind of thing that, like, and TV shows don't get to do this. Like, I don't want anyone to be like, well, yeah, the TV shows don't work like that. Kendra said, shouting from the comments.
I know.
But if a TV show could have a first draft and then revise it, a lot of the kinks of the weirdness of the show I think they would get ironed out.
Yeah, certainly.
But I definitely I can see how the weirdness is part of Doctor Who, and you could say the queerness is part of Torchwood.
Yes.
But it's charming in its own way, and one of the things that I like, and one of the things that I'm gonna fucking say it right now, Russell T Davis's direction and his writing is superior to most anime because he goes out of his way to explain things and to justify things happening. An anime could just have a race of aliens and they're fat because it's because as a culture we're programmed that it's okay to laugh at fat people, and bad people equal bad, so you shouldn't trust fat people. That's what our culture teaches us. But Russell T Davis goes out of his way to explain why the aliens
inhabit like larger people,
overweight people. They go out of their way to explain it, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's like, why didn't you just take over the prime minister? Oh, he's too small.
Yeah.
They can't fit in him.
There you go. Yeah, and that makes sense. And
without the gas conversion thing, I'm being
the gas conversion thing is I don't know if it's something that is like we commit to this stupid bit. I don't know. I don't like it, but again, one of the things that I really do like is that like. And let's make this very clear right now, okay? This show doesn't have to set up a woman becoming prime minister of the UK. It doesn't have to do that. The show doesn't have to focus on Harriet Jones and her her trajectory from being just an everyday kind of politician to becoming the leader of the golden age of the Great Britain. It doesn't have to do that, but it did anyway.
Yeah, and I really love that. Again, we'll talk more about Harriet Jones, but
listen, I've had a very limited exposure to Moffat, but I feel like Moffat wouldn't bat an eyelash. It's like, no, let's just have a man do that.
Yeah,
let's just have a man do that because
some random dude that we haven't introduced yet.
Okay, well, the next Prime Minister. Will talk about The Empty Child and Dr. Dances because there's a lot of that episode that I don't think it's Moffat's doing, even though he wrote it. I feel like Moffat in a writing, Moffat in a writing. Like, I don't believe that Moffat wrote Jack Harkness to be that queer.
No,
I don't actually
Jack Harkness
believe it.
Is 100% Russell T Davies.
Yeah, so it's the thing where Moffat was like, what if Jack Harkness said this, and then Russell T Davies was like, nah, make it gayer, you stupid bitch,
and
then slapped him.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
basically, Aliens of London.
Back to Aliens. Yeah. It's the first two-parter. It definitely has that nice pacing.
It is the first two-parter. Yep. Sorry, my brain was like, no, it's not. And I was like, yes, it is.
I mean, the Unquiet Dead felt like a two-parter because we fell asleep the first time we watched it.
You're not wrong.
It's definitely better.
Yeah.
It has the CGI monsters.
Which, that's what I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about this is Mickey's first time that he actually gets to shine by hacking into the government.
That's right, yeah. And it
actually sets up his character arc if he's the computer boy.
And again, I feel like Russell T Davies is very good at that kind of writing where you're laying the train tracks as you're going, and because Miki got put in this position of being really good at hacking, this ends up becoming pivotal to his character development later on.
Yeah.
Which is, it's definitely, you can see that it wasn't planned to be like that, because if it had been planned to be like that, we would have been formally introduced to Miki doing that for a living or something like that.
Yeah.
But again, when you're a writer, you make do with what you've got, and Russell T Davies definitely saw that Miki had an opportunity to do something and actually gave him.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't talk about season 2 yet, but he did a really good job with Miki, and
I fucking love Miki.
I didn't like Miki at first, but I grew to really, really like Miki.
Yeah, he is very endearing.
He is. Just like Harry Jones is super endearing.
It's true.
Again, I got chills when she was giving her speech at the end. It was just so fantastic, and it's that. So good.
It's so good.
It's again, characters are my thing.
Yeah.
And like some people are like, oh, but this cool moment happened, and I'm like, I don't care. Yeah. Harry Jones got to show the best parts of humanity, and that's my shit right there.
That's some good shit right there.
And an episode where the Doctor pretty much didn't do
anything. Much. Yeah, he was just like, okay, Miki, do this. You know, he formulated the plan, and everyone else, you know, did the actual work.
How do you feel about the magic steel box?
Listen, it's fine.
It's fine.
You know, they gotta live.
Doctor Who really does excel at being kind of, I don't want to say dumb,
hand wavy.
It's very anime in that way.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, they just so happen to be, you know...
They just happen to be trapped in a steel box that could survive a fucking missile attack. No biggie.
Yeah, you know. It's anime in that way, but better than anime in most regards.
Yeah, it's actually, like, well written.
Is there anything else you want to say? I mean, I like that one of the Slatheens comes back later.
Yeah, we'll get to talk about her in Boomtown.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Them.
Oh, it's this fucking season. I thought it was season 2.
No, it's
hilarious.
In this season. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about it, honestly.
That's about it.
Yeah. Good episodes.
Moving on.
Episode 6, Dalek, written by Robert Shearman, that premiered on April 30th, 2005. Daleks are back.
Kitty, that was 15 years ago.
Jesus fucking.
We're recording this at the end of April.
Yeah.
Dalek.
Yeah, this episode features the return of the Doctor's most hated, most what's the rivalrous?
The villain of the
Time Lords, the Daleks, with a last surviving Dalek crash landing on Earth.
The last one. There's no more. That's the last one right there.
Wink.
Yep, that was the last one.
Yeah, that was not gonna last.
I'm really happy that Russell T Davies really put down his foot and was like, and then there were no more Daleks ever again.
Yep.
I have things to say, and my opinion on this episode has actually changed as we have watched more Doctor Who.
That's fair.
But what happens in this episode?
The Doctor comes face to face with the other last survivor of a species, the species that his people fought and died to defeat. There's still one more, and he kind of grapples with the fact of, like, you know, we are the same, but we are not, because we're both the
we're not so different, you and I.
Exactly.
And in this episode, in this underground facility of this of
the man who owns the internet.
Yep, of the man who owns the internet. There's all these alien artifacts, and there happens to be a Dalek there. During a scuffle, Rose ends up touching the Dalek and revitalizing it by having the Dalek. The Dalek
basically absorbing
her DNA,
human DNA.
And this at the end of the episode, this comes back around in the form of having given the Dalek emotions, which
basically defeats the Dalek, because Daleks are made to only feel one emotion: hatred.
Yep, Daleks.
I like this episode a lot because, you know, it's the whole, like, we're not so different, you and I, and it kind of grapples with the fact that, like, you know, the Doctor is looking at what is basically him, but on the other side of the war. And seeing, like, the differences and the similarities between them.
Yep. I think that I would like this episode a lot more
if Daleks never came back.
If I had never seen any episode of Doctor Who after that.
That's fair.
It's because I really like what they do with the Dalek. It's really touching, and I feel like it really does, like, hit home the reality of, like, we're both survivors of war, and in a war where, yes, there were sides, but at the end of the day,
nobody won.
But when there's war, nobody fucking wins.
Yeah,
and I really like that overall message there at the end. And I was shocked that they actually showed what the Dalek looked like.
The inside of the Dalek.
I thought that it was going to be like, okay,
a big mystery.
Yeah, like season 3, we'll finally see what the inside of the Dalek looks like, and they don't shy away from making it as pathetic as it is.
Exactly.
It is this pitiful
this,
thing.
Like, goop of an eyeball and, like, barely living, barely clinging to life.
Yep.
And I like it shows the kind of duality of, like, both the Doctor and the Dalek choose different paths to deal with, their own grief and, like, what happened during the war, where the Dalek chooses to die and the Doctor chooses to live on, continue on.
Yep.
And I really like that.
It's true. It's true. I just like the duality of the Dalek as well. So, like, it's this really weak, barely clinging onto life organism that is inside of this indestructible tank, basically.
Yeah, with a fucking, like, skeleton laser beams.
Yeah, and of course, this is the episode where we're introduced to the scariest Dalek of them all, because the OG Dalek, and I knew this because everybody talks about this, old school Daleks could easily be defeated by just climbing upstairs.
Or pushing them down.
Or pushing them down.
Yeah.
But this Dalek can hover.
Floats.
Yeah, so that's terrifying.
They all float.
Gosh. Now, the one thing that we haven't talked about is that in this episode, for some fucking reason...
This isn't Russell.
No,
Robert Shearman.
I mean, Russell is the showrunner, so I gave the green light to this.
Guy.
And I don't know if they were like, hey, if they like this guy,
he can come back in, or he can come back.
But there's a guy... And he ends up tagging along for 2 episodes.
Yeah, the next episode, yeah.
And he's so nothing.
He's just like a dude.
That he feels so shoehorned in as in, like, hey, like, okay, I'm just gonna come out and say it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
A straight white man watching this show, I know the Doctor is 50% of the cast, but what if we gave you another white straight man for you to feel really... Like, what if you gave you a self-insert, because he's just a fucking self-insert.
Yeah, he's basically just a self-insert.
And I don't know if it went really bad, or if no one liked him.
I don't think anyone liked him.
Because he has no personality.
His only personality is that he's a fucking asshole in the next episode.
Yeah, but he's just the most self-insert white man that it could possibly be. 20-something-year-old white man.
Yeah.
And I feel like someone in marketing was like, yo, this, the first episode of New Doctor Who got 10.81 million viewers in the UK. But we could really excel if we got more of those 20-something-year-old white guys to really watch the show.
They think Doctor Who's lame.
They think
it's an old show from the 50s. There's got to give them someone to root for.
Yeah, and then they gave them this absolutely nobody guy.
This absolutely untoasted white bread.
Yeah. Fuck, before you said that, I was like, the guy who looked like he used to be a member of, like, Blink-182 before they kicked him out because he was too lame.
Yeah.
It's just this normal, nothing guy who gets to tag along with the Doctor, and it feels so shoehorned in.
It does, especially when he fucks things up in the next episode.
Like, to me, it almost felt like, I don't know, maybe I'm seeing too much in there.
Yeah.
But it almost feels like marketing wanted us to put this guy in here, and then he didn't do well, so we're just gonna kill him in the next episode super bad.
Well, we don't quite kill him, but...
You might as well. I mean, he's dead.
He's
dead, and he has a hole in his head. I mean,
that's what happens.
Is there anything else you want to say about Dalek? That voice is so good.
It's such a good voice. Yeah, Daleks. That's it. That's the last.
That's
Dalek.
the last one. That's the last Dalek. I was really happy that Russell T Davies, came out and said, you know what, and that's it. The Joker is dead.
Yep.
And
he's not coming back. Definitely not in the next the season finale.
Yep. I like the blackness of space parts, and stepping out of the curtain are 10 million Jokers.
Yep, exactly.
God.
Never happened. Wink. Next up, episode 7, The Long Game, written by Russell T Davies and aired on my birthday in 2005. That's May 7th.
The Long Game. Now, I gotta say. This is the middle of the season, right?
Yeah.
And Russell T Davies, being the showrunner, introduces the long game and sets up a lot of the things that are going to come back
during
later.
The finale.
What do you think about the long game?
I overall think it is kind of a weak episode.
Really? I actually rather like it.
That's fair. I like a lot of the stuff that they do, and I like what it sets up. But as an episode goes, I didn't super enjoy actually watching it.
Fair.
I like, that they set up this whole space station, that they set up, now the future is back to normal. Ha 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 ha. But I didn't like this dude who's shoved in, takes up a bunch of the episode.
Yeah, that's true. That guy fucking sucks.
Just like, generally as being an asshole.
I
like that we have to have like his ending essentially. We have to go out of our way to bring him back home.
We have to waste
precious screen time.
I do.
But I really like the other characters that get introduced.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Was it
I just want to say, I just want to say that, like, I'm looking at the list of episodes, and I'm like, if you didn't like this one, and you've been kind of meh, what's the one that you really? Oh, it's the
next
I wonder if it's the one,
or the one and the ones after that.
Yeah. So in the long game, the Doctor and Rose take fuckboy McGee to the future, to the height of the human empire,
to Channel 5 News.
In this space station that does all of the news, we end up discovering that journalism has taken a weird turn where now all news and data is basically it's
beamed into the brain directly.
And we have a bit of a lottery kind of soft plot in which the levels of the space station, you escalate as you get better, but on floor 500 everyone goes and everything's golden. Except it's not.
It's definitely not.
And we learn that
some very strange creature is controlling the space station. From the top.
And basically harvesting humans for
to live
for their energy, basically, and all that stuff.
But don't worry, the Doctor fixes it, and in the future we'll go back to normal.
And the future will go back to normal, and everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the great golden age.
I liked. This feels like a very dense episode.
Yes, there's a lot.
Yeah, like the Unquiet Dead feels to me like a very uneventful episode. In my head, I don't picture.
Yeah, there's like two
happening.
things that happen in that episode.
But in my brain, the long game feels like it's a two-parter because there's just so much that happens. And yes, we do unfortunately end up wasting a bit of time to fuckboy McGee, who dies by the end of the episode. He's sent back to the normal world.
With a hole in his head because he's a fucking idiot and got a hole in his head to get more information to send back to himself to make more money for the future. Because, in case you didn't know, he's an asshole.
I don't know.
And then he gets caught by his mom having a hole in his head.
Whoops. So what I want to say is that I like the long game. I really like it. I like the visual style. I like the twist. I'm always keen of when the Doctor himself basically doesn't know what's going on. I feel like that makes him a lot more active and a lot more fun.
That's a lot more fun, honestly.
Probably the least exciting episodes are the ones in which the Doctor's in control and then Rose and someone else just go off and have a nice little gay adventure.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen in this episode.
No.
Rose spends a bit of time with fuckboy McGee, but they're not having gay adventures.
But then she's like, he's fucking lame.
Yeah, but he's fucking lame.
Yeah.
Fuck, yeah. I hate this ending.
Yes.
I hate the ending of Fuckboy McGee. I do. And I hate it the most because it feels like a fucking Goosebumps ending.
Yeah.
It feels like the Goosebumps or like Are You Afraid of the Dark theme should have played at the
end of that when the mom is like, a snap! Oh no, your head just opened. I can see your brain.
That's fucking dumb.
Oh,
I hate it.
Dumb.
Again, I'm gonna tally that one up to marketing, who wanted to have a 20-something-year-old white males to attract more white males to watch the show because I guess.
That's what you need.
Eccleston isn't enough representation, I guess.
No, he's too old.
He's fucking amazing, though.
He's so
fucking
great.
good. And there's also the... what's the name of the main girl? The main lady?
It wasn't Yvonne, was it? That's another lady.
Let's say that it was Yvonne. We forgot, but let's just say that it was Yvonne.
Yeah. No,
she was
great.
Fucking great.
I love that she saves the day. She turns against her, like, corporate nature and is like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I love her.
She was so...
love the...
Actually, you know what? I can just right-click here and see what her name was.
Adam is Fuckboy's name.
Fuck. His name was Adam.
His name is Adam.
Blah,
blah, blah.
Kathika.
Loves her.
Kathika.
Love her.
Fuck. I was like, please, we come back to the space station, and I'm like, please let it be Kathika. It wasn't Kathika.
It wasn't. It was like 100 years later, so.
It could have still been Kathika.
That's true.
She was so good.
She really
sold me
good.
on her character.
I also really like the other lady who gets like killed halfway through the episode, but I like her character.
Yeah. And I like the little twist with her character. Like, to me, it really felt as though like there was more going on to the setting than
what they showed.
Than what they showed.
Yeah, no, I really, like I said, I really like the ideas of this episode. I just hated watching it. It's just not fun to watch.
Yeah, I can't believe we're disagreeing so hard on this.
I just, every time fucking Adam appeared on screen, I'm just like, God, I hate
his name is Fuckboy McGee.
Fuckboy Adam.
Fuckboy Adam.
Yeah.
Aren't
all Adams fuckboys?
No. But it's funny because like Kathika's just so like she's so good that like it swells my perception of this episode.
See,
and I do admit that every time that Fuckboy Adam was on the screen, I was just like, okay, we watched Doctor Who while having dinner. The reason why we started doing Doctor Who is that we used to just watch random YouTube videos for dinner. And we thought, well, we can do something better with our time to just watch something instead. And we started doing Doctor Who. So whilst I was eating dinner when we were watching that episode, I remember, I keenly remember just like paying more attention to my food whenever Adam was on screen.
Yeah.
And that's how most of the Unquiet Dead went by.
Yeah,
I was just
like,
and
then when we were done with dinner,
I'm gonna look
like,
at my food.
Let me look up, what's some new pit crew coming out.
So that's basically the best
meter of how much we enjoyed or were invested in the episode.
Yeah, and again, every time Kathyka was on screen, I was like, yeah,
let's go
girl, yeah. Fucking love Kathyka.
She's great.
I love the other lady.
Yeah.
I like this kind of like, dystopian setting. I thought it was really cool, and I love how it comes back later.
The other scene that like I really hated was the whole scene with Adam in the surgery area with that one lady, and I'm just like, please,
stop. No, honestly, if we could have taken all the Adam out and just had like more Kathyka in there, this would be like probably top tier episode.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there is the fuckboy Adam in there, and you're right, all Adams are fuckboys.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you want to say about the long game?
I wish I liked it more, but I do like a lot of the things it sets up, and I appreciate that we get to come back to Station 5. Station 5 is not Channel 5, Station 5 News. I really like that, and that actually comes back in one of my favorite ways in the season finale.
Yeah,
I really like what they did in the season finale with Station 5.
Yep.
Yeah. Episode number 8, Father's Day, written by Paul Cornell, that aired on May 14th, 2005.
And in case you're wondering if we sound a little bit different,
New day.
Time and space are
warped around us.
Are warped around, Yeah. I feel like it's fitting for a Doctor Who podcast to just jump forward in time like a week.
New shirt,
yeah. We should be wearing the same clothes from... I'm actually wearing the same clothes.
You are actually wearing the same clothes, even though this is not a video. Anyway.
But anyhow...
Father's
Day.
So this episode basically features, we get to learn a lot more about Rose and the fact that her dad died when she was, 6 months old or something crazy like that. So she never really got to know her dad. So she asks the doctor to take her back to the day that her dad died, so that at least she could be there for him when he died, because apparently he died alone on a street after being hit by a car. And, she decides she can't just let him die, so time paradoxes around her, and then the doctor has to save the day from these time-eating gargoyles.
Yep. This episode, the setup for this episode is classic, right?
Yeah.
We have a character who gets to fix their past. And as much as I hate the idea of, everyone tells this character, don't do the thing.
Don't do it.
At least it led to a lot of really interesting things in this episode.
Don't touch the baby.
The one unforgivable thing in this episode is that baby Mickey shows up.
Baby Mickey.
I can't stand that.
He's so cute.
That's dumb.
His grand's there pushing him on the swings.
That's fucking dumb.
It's baby Mickey.
I hate that.
He's so cute.
Other than that, again, this is the sort of thing that, if we weren't watching this... Or if we had started recording as soon as we were watching episodes, we would be missing on a lot of nuance, because, spoilers, Rose's dad comes back in season 2.
It's true.
In a kind of really pivotal point.
In a very pivotal and different way.
Yeah, and honestly, that's kind of awesome. Watching this, I'm like, it's kind of a one-off thing. We're never going to see him again, and then he comes back.
And then he actually comes back.
And he's pivotal to the plot.
Yeah. I have a thing for dad stories, I fucking love this episode. It makes me cry every time. God.
Yep, and I feel like this is another of those episodes where I'm like, if the doctor had a gun, I feel like we could, if the doctor could just, break into the room, Jack Harkness style, and with the shotgun.
Chung.
I feel like this would be a different show, and it would be.
Yeah.
But again, I really like that we have a bit of a conversation with the rest of the people inside of the church, who are like, please save us, we don't want to die.
Yeah, and we get to have these personal moments of, how did you guys meet, the bride and the groom, because they're attending a wedding, basically.
Yeah. And it's... And I like the idea that the paradox monsters can't or they have a harder time destroying things that are old, because they're fixing the timeline one time phase at a time,
chunk at a time, basically. Yeah.
So them they are able to hide inside of the ancient church because it's so old that the time paradox monsters
can't get through
it easily.
Yeah, until Rose touches herself as a baby, and then paradox ensues.
Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. If you meet yourself back in time, don't say hi to yourself.
Don't say hi to yourself.
It's simple rules of time travel.
Yeah, and again, as an episode about a dad, I feel like this is a very successful episode.
So good.
There's a lot of really touching moments between Rose and her dad.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of those moments that are the really rich moments of, we know what's going on, and it's impactful emotionally for us because we know, but the characters in the scene, or half of the characters in the scene don't know.
Yeah. I especially like that they twisted on itself, whereas, Jackie always talked about Pete as, how much she loved him and all that. And then the first time you see them, they're just, fighting constantly.
Yeah.
And, they continue to fight throughout the whole show. And it's kind of one of those things that's because he's gone, she describes him with more, what's the word? Tenderness and, love than she actually had during the actual relationship. But it's still obvious that they still love each other. It complicates things in a good way. Relationships are nuanced,
It's true. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if this is the most nothing award to hand out to Doctor Who, but every time that Rose happens to be in a scene with her dad, whether it is this episode or the next time that this happens, there is a window in which they could have had a weird moment where the dad hits on the older version of the daughter he doesn't have in this timeline.
Yeah.
They never do that.
Yeah.
I'm relieved.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that they never went there, even as a joke.
Jackie implies is is this, somebody you've brought home and something like that. But it's never played with like that. They have really good chemistry as father-daughter.
Yeah. And I appreciate that.
I honestly really do.
And as you said, there's a lot of nuance in being able to see characters in a different point of their timeline. And interacting with them as a stranger.
Yeah.
Because Rose is a stranger in this interaction and the one that happens in the next time that we meet a different version of Jackie. And that other version of Jackie was so fucking mean that I'm like, damn, bitch.
A little bit of money corrupt you.
Yeah, just more than a little bit of money.
Yeah,
but
really.
Back to the Father's Day.
Yes, our timeline dad.
Yeah.
I love that actor. I don't know what else he's done, but I love he does such a good job.
He did a really good job.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And if it sounds like we're not really talking about the Doctor, it's because he kind of plays a smaller role in this episode.
He does.
Yeah, which I think is totally fine.
Yeah, and again, and this is something that's going to become a lot more relevant when we start talking about Torchwood. Is and episodes of season 2 of Doctor Who. Let's not be entirely honest. Let's be entirely honest here. Any episode in which all of the main characters take the backseat are immediately they're less interesting in my mind because I'm watching this show because I want to see the Doctor and Rose be interesting.
Yeah.
Or see their characters develop, and you do get that in Father's Day for sure.
Yes.
So
100%. even the Doctor, who's limited, has limited screen time, gets character development.
Yeah, absolutely.
At the beginning of this, when Rose actually pushes her dad out of the way, or I forget what she does. Yeah, she pushes him out of the way and saves his life. The Doctor gets really angry and is like, you stupid apes are always trying to just fix things. You're trying to use, my powers for your own benefit. And he develops from then, and, Rose sees the error of her ways and seeing that, sometimes things are meant to happen, but I can still affect them. And she ends up, as her dad dies, as her dad sacrifices himself, knowing that he has to die today, she sits with him as he dies, basically. Changing history just enough.
Yeah, and I like that there's this slight little change in the timeline, and that, it maintains the... I guess it maintains the timeline, but the little changes just feel so good.
Yeah.
And it's the kind of thing that, usually altering timelines is something that I don't really like in fiction, because it just creates this whole rippling effect of okay, well, if this one thing changed, why is everything normal?
Right.
It's like the Marty McFly thing of my parents got together, but they got together in a different way that somehow still had me be the same person that I am today.
Right, exactly.
That doesn't make sense to me at all.
It doesn't. Not at all.
But anyhow, Father's Day,
really
good episode.
Fucking love this episode. Not a bit of a downer, but, that's how it goes. And now, Episode 9, The Empty Child, and Episode 10, The Doctor Dances, both written by Stephen Moffat, airing May 21st, 2005, and the second episode on May 28th, 2005.
It's time for the big one.
The big boy. The big two-parter. There was another two-parter, but this is the big two-parter. Other than the ending.
Also the introduction of Jack Harkness.
Yes, the best boy.
I really like Eccleston, but definitely Jack is. I mean, he was good enough that he got his own show. So there you go.
Pretty much, yeah.
Kitty.
So in this,
so what happens in The Empty Child?
So in The Empty Child, we travel back to the height of World War II, the height of the bombing in London, the German bombing in London. And we come across this strange little child who just keeps, this child in a gas mask who just keeps asking for his mummy. He wants his mummy.
Yep.
We kind of follow what's going on with him. We meet, what the fuck is her name?
A girl. We meet a girl.
We meet a girl who knows him and is like, that's my little brother. Don't touch him. You'll become like him.
Yep.
So basically, the doctor is trying to help her and finds out that there are multiple other people with gas masks.
And learns that basically anyone that comes in contact with this child also becomes like a weird kind of
the empty child, essentially. Very empty.
Yeah, becomes basically an empty husk with a gas mask that is literally a part of their face.
Yeah. Fused to their skin.
Throughout this, we also are introduced to a space swindler,
Captain Jack Harkness.
Captain Jack Harkness.
Oh, that man.
Oh, fucking, he is. Let's just say what we're all thinking. Mm-hmm. He is fucking gorgeous.
Whew.
He is gorgeous. He is beautiful.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of interplay with him and Rose, and then him
and
the doctor because of course. And we end The Empty Child having learned about all these people that are affected by this empty child virus, let's call it that.
Yeah, basically, an airborne virus.
Yeah. And in the Doctor Dances, we kind of find out the reason for that, and the Doctor finds a solution for this problem.
Yes, in which everyone lives. He manages to help everybody.
So there's a lot to talk about in this episode.
Yes. My favorite Moffat episodes.
Which is so weird to say that Stephen Moffat did a thing good.
Right, when later he will do thing bad. I know. We haven't gotten to Blink yet. I know, it's good, I think. I don't remember, but...
listen,
we'll get to Blink, don't worry.
If you keep throwing darts at a board, you're eventually going to hit a bullseye, even if you're blindfolded.
Yeah, exactly.
It feels so weird to say Stephen Moffat did a thing good, because I feel that... Again, how much of this episode is Stephen Moffat writing an episode, and how much of it is Russell T Davies going, no, change that, no, change that.
Here's my character, Jack Harkness.
Yeah, because I have trouble believing that Stephen Moffat wrote Jack Harkness to be that gay.
I highly doubt it.
I have absolute, press X for doubt. I do not believe it for one fucking second that Stephen Moffat wrote a really open kind of a gay character who's not played for laughs or jokes or written in a kind of homophobic way like he would later on. So it's just I don't know what percentage of this script is actually him.
Yeah, there are certainly like signs of Moffat because the main girl in this
whatever her name is.
Whatever the fuck her name is. Sorry, I can't remember. It's been like a month since we watched this. But there is definitely like elements of his character writing in her. Like she is, primarily in the end of it, a mother. And that is kind of her role, which is unfortunately a trope that his female characters tend to play into. Yeah. But she's a little bit more nuanced than that, and I do feel like that is like having a writing room behind, the main writer actually, like being like, okay, she can't just be the mom. She has this character, she wants to take care of these children, not just because she was a mom, but because she is also very young.
Yep.
And she feels responsible for these children, these other orphans on the street, basically.
Yeah, there's a lot of parallels between Stephen Moffat's worst writing and basically anything that Ryan Murphy's ever touched.
Yeah.
Whereas, there's a very small, limited number of female characters in the story.
Or David Cage, too.
And David Cage. And all the female characters have to check all of the boxes of being a female character.
Yeah,
they
are a woman.
They have to be a woman, a sister, a romantic interest.
A mother.
And a mother. In order to, you don't have to have multiple female characters. You just have one that does everything.
Everything, right. Looking at you, River Song and Amy Pond.
We will get there. We will get there. Now, I feel conflicted about The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances for two reasons.
Okay.
Number one, I gave the twist the benefit of the doubt because I thought there was going to be more to it. But then once I figured it out, and then when I'm like, oh, it's Stephen Moffat, of course the plot twist is that the girl is the mom of the boy, and she had a baby really young. Like
at the time, it was a lot more like, oh shit.
Yeah. But now, after a lot of really bad male writers writing bad plots about involving women, I was just like, he wants his mummy because the girl is his mummy.
He's looking for his mummy, and nobody will tell him who his mummy is when it's right in front of him. Yeah.
And I have to agree, and I have to just completely just admit that part of, growing up in the internet, seeing GIFs, gave me a wrong set of expectations, because I knew that the line "everyone lives," this one time everybody lives, was impactful and strong. And in my mind, I pictured that the scene leading up to that would be a lot more powerful.
It's very subdued.
It's really subdued. And like I almost thought it was gonna be like, some sort of I thought it was like the final episode, and he makes his sacrifice, and it's like, you know what, I'm gonna sacrifice myself so that everyone gets to live this one time.
I mean, that parallel does come back in the final episode.
It does, but it's weird to me, because there's this line that is very powerful, and it's attached to this kind of like really
it's a quiet scene.
It's a quiet scene. Yeah. And I guess to me, and this is my own perception of things, the way that I perceive this scene would go in my mind from seeing GIF sets is that I feel like conflict between how quiet the scene is and how overjoyed the doctor is.
That's fair.
And I know that, like, we can read that as, like, well, with his PTSD and with his fear of every time that he's involved with something, everyone ends up dying.
Yeah, exactly.
I get that, but I wonder if maybe, if Eccleston had performed that a little bit more subdued, if maybe it would have felt right in my mind.
Yeah. That's fair. I do feel like he gets his moment of, like, jubilation when he sends the nanomachines to go fix everybody. Yeah. Like, that's his moment of, like, I get to help everyone. I get to choose that everyone lives today. Yeah. Like, I feel like that's kind of his moment, but it comes a little bit after that line.
Yeah.
I still fucking, like, that line chills still. But I totally see it. It's a quiet.
And again, I'm not saying the episode is bad, because my perception of the episode was not the same as what it actually was. That's on me for imagining what the show would be like without actually watching the show. And I gotta say, it's not a bad couple episodes.
Oh, God,
It really isn't a bad couple episodes.
And they're very entertaining. And we have the joke about the banana.
Yeah, and I'm like, when does the banana show up?
This episode.
And it's the introduction of Captain Jack Harkness. And it's really hard for me to not be excited about Jack Harkness whenever he's on screen, because
he's just so charming.
He's just so beautiful and charming. And again, let's get back to the script question. How much of Jack Harkness is it's not Stephen Moffat. Stephen Moffat did not write Jack Harkness. No. But how much of it is Russell T Davies putting words in John Barrowman's mouth?
And how much is just John Barrowman being John Barrowman?
How much of it is just like, John, just say whatever you want to say in this scene.
Just be as gay as you want.
Honestly, especially like at the end where like he offers to dance with the doctor.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, because I don't know if we talked about this last time, or if there's some stuff here about like, I really like Russell T Davies and his character of Jack Harkness, because it's really easy. It's really easy when you're a I suppose straight white man writing science fiction. All right, it's live.
So Max and Kitty from the future here. Your girl Kitty's a big dumb who forgot that Russell T Davies is actually an openly gay man, not straight.
That explains a lot of things.
It explains a lot, mostly Jack Harkness.
Yeah. So the Max and Kitty from the future, checking out. Writing science fiction to make everyone not only white, but also straight. And I love Jack Harkness as the man from the future.
Yeah, from the 51st century.
Who is literally, like, omnisexual.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
the idea that, like...
Has fucked aliens, has fucked, like, men, women, everything in between.
And that he doesn't care because it doesn't mean... Like, at least, he comes from a culture where the limitations of, like, no, you should only fuck people with the different hardware to the one that you were born or assigned to.
Yeah.
And I like that. It would have been really easy to just make him like a Casanova. Like,
always sitting on all the women.
Womanizer, Space James Bond. The opportunity was there. The window was open, and Russell T Davies went for the door instead.
Yeah.
The harder path, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like, I can't express how happy
I like relieved.
It's relief because it's so easy to go for the
easy answer
for the easy everyone's straight in space.
Yeah.
Which I fucking hate, and it's lame, and I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
And it's half of the reason why I was excited to watch Torchwood, because you get more Jack
He's
Harkness.
Basically the main character, except not really.
Yeah, and also everyone's gay in Torchwood anyway, which is canonical too, which is fucking great. But anyhow, we're not talking about Torchwood today.
That's gonna be a while.
It's gonna be a little while.
The empty child and the doctor dances.
And, okay, I'm gonna just fucking call it right now, okay?
Alright, let's go.
Stephen Moffat wrote for Jack to die at the end of that episode, and then Russell T Davies came in and was like, no.
No, I bet John Barrowman just convinced everyone in the filming set, and they were all like, shit, man, put him in the next 3 episodes. Put him in the season finale.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Oh, sorry, my bottle is making a squirting sound.
It's still going.
It sounds like a little Dalek. I'm not gonna lie to you. I will admit that Jack Harkness feels a little tacked on for the rest of the season.
Definitely for the next episode.
Definitely the next episode.
I feel like he has his little arc in the last...
Again, I feel that like in the production of the season, they were like, fuck, we really like John B as
Johnny B.
Johnny B. Like let's just keep him in the show.
Right.
And definitely for Boomtown, it's kind of like,
he's just kind of there.
Yeah, but then for Bad Wolf and The Parting of the Ways, he's definitely a pivotal character in the plot, and that's so good.
So good.
Is there anything else you want to say about The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances?
I still fucking love it.
No, I think it's good. Mm-hmm. I think my expectations
was
tarnished
very
my
high.
own. Yeah, my expectations were high, especially like, and again, seeing the gift sets on Tumblr gave me expectations for when these lines would show up, especially like the final line, like the line that the Doctor gets in The Parting of the Ways. I also like I was expecting it, and when it showed up, it kind of just came and went. And that's not to say that it's flat.
No,
it's just that like maybe
it's different.
It's my own expectations really swelling things bigger than they actually are. Like I thought the banana was a more pivotal character to this show, and it only shows up in the Doctor Dances.
No, it doesn't show up. Oh, it's season 2.
Yeah.
Talks about a banana.
Yeah, the or it's like the fucking 3D glasses that I thought were like
very important, and they just show up for an episode.
As someone who didn't know anything about Doctor Who, I legit thought that Tennant would wear those glasses for the entirety of the season, and that would be like his thing, like his costume, like the banana. But it turns out that they're just gags.
Yep. They just had some extra props on set, and they were like, "Here you go."
So here's the thing: is like we should do a video where it's like I haven't seen a single episode of blank, but what do I know about the episode? Assuming from the things that I've seen, and what do I know about it?
Right,
and
exactly.
A lot of the things that I thought I knew about Doctor Who turned out to be wrong, and for the better.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. But anyhow, you want to move on?
Let's go to the next episode. Lady who comes back.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that lady.
Yes.
Which one's Boomtown?
You can put me on blast and be like, Max forgot this episode existed.
I just chose, so it's fine.
Alright, fucking start.
Alright. Episode 11, Boomtown, written by Russell T Davies, originally aired on June 4th, 2005.
I forgot this episode existed.
I forgot too, other than I remembered that lady comes back for Alien Rex Coracle Falpatorius lady comes back.
I can't believe you remember that. See, I actually like, and also the sets of Cardiff, actually.
Oh yes, this is the beginning of the rift, the time rift opening in Cardiff.
Yeah, and what would later be the setting for Torchwood.
It's true.
In retrospect, again, I forgot this episode existed. I was like, which one's Boomtown? But number one. This episode, by the way, in case you're wondering,
yes.
It's about there's a dimensional rift in the city of Cardiff in Wales.
Wales, yes.
And we follow one of the members of this Lethine family as she's kind of positioned herself in a position of power again, and she wanted to create a power or build a
nuclear
power plant.
Nuclear
right
on the rift.
Yeah, with the intent of destroying it, to have the energy released from the rift, basically have her surf her way into another dimension or another planet.
Back home, basically.
Back home, basically. And of course, her plan is thwarted by Jack Harkness, the Doctor, and Rose.
And a little bit of Mickey.
And throughout this episode, it gets a little bit slow, actually.
This episode slows down quite a bit.
And that's not inherently a bad thing. I actually really like the conversations between the Doctor and this Lethine lady. And we get very little Jack Harkness in this episode, but that's fine. He solves the problem at the end of the day, and which is fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
And we also have the introduction of basically pouring energy out of the TARDIS to solve the problem.
Yeah.
The living energy of the TARDIS.
Oh yeah, the soul of the TARDIS.
The soul of the TARDIS, essentially,
kind of fixing the problem.
Yeah. Also, have I mentioned how much I like the idea that like TARDISes are not built; they're grown.
They're grown. Yeah, they're alive. They're living creatures.
That's cool.
It's really cool.
That's dope.
We will never get to talk about it because the Time Lord's planet is dead. But you know.
Anyhow, don't remind me of all the things that we won't get to see. Boomtown, a pretty nice little episode.
It's a kind of quiet episode. It kind of, it happens and then you kind of forget about it. But it has a lot of nice moments. Like you said, the conversations between the doctor and the lady about, like, would you really kill me after, sitting down to eat a meal with me, blah, blah, blah. And, like, I guess in a way it kind of cheapens out because the doctor doesn't have to make that decision. The heart of the TARDIS essentially, like, reverts her back to a state where she can grow into a new person, which I feel like is actually kind of a better message, is like you can be reborn in your own way and kind of, start over.
And I do like that I feel like the doctor kind of basically connected what the dots and was like, well, you know what, this is her chance to start anew.
Yeah, exactly.
And because I feel like I agree with you that the TARDIS ultimately makes the choice for the doctor, but then the doctor decides, because he could just like
yeet her into space.
He could just yeet the egg on the ground and then just stomp on it and break it. But then he decides
he brings it back to Rex
and he says that, he's gonna, like, give her a good family and give her a chance to start again, which I like. Again, like, I feel like the doctor could be played to be a psychopath ultimately.
Oh, 100%.
And every time that this ancient time alien decides to show mercy to tiny little mortal beings that only exist in the universe for a blink.
Yeah.
I really like that. I feel like that shows how the doctor can be the best parts of us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yep. Is that it?
Yeah. Well, what was funny is, like, I think it was before watching this episode, we, like, walked out to my dad watching British TV, and the same actress was playing somebody else in another show, and I was like, God. Yo.
That was so weird.
Yo, BBC's got her on speed dial.
God.
She's a good actress. I actually really like that scene where she chooses to spare that human. I really like that scene. But I do also like that the doctor later says, you chose to spare one person to, feel better about yourself.
And again, I feel like that's the power of science fiction, that it allows us to have these literally conversations about morality and politics within a different point of view, that it gives it nuance.
Yeah,
because,
exactly.
Yeah, it's true, and I feel like I'm referencing a freaking bit from Northern Lion, where it's like I believe it's the Six Man movie about a basketball team that is aided by a ghost of a basketball player, and how, like, on the very final shot of the very final part of the movie, the ghost decides to not help them, to let them succeed on their own.
Right.
But that message is tarnished because
the ghost has helped them every other 99% of the time.
What difference does it make that the team of this team of losers managed to get the last shot in of a season where otherwise the ghost was getting all the goals? That's just how much I fucking know of basketball.
Close enough.
And again, I know that I kind of pivoted there for a second, but it's that conversation of, like, what difference does it make that you saved one human when you're intending to kill everyone?
When you attempted to literally nuke the planet. Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it's that weird morality thing where, why is this okay but this isn't?
Yeah, exactly. I like that.
And again, whenever a show gets us thinking about that, I feel like that's success.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. Especially like a show like Doctor Who, which is a family-oriented show.
Yeah.
So it gets, families to talk about this kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the finale, though.
Yo.
Episode 12, Bad Wolf, and Episode 13, The Parting of the Ways, by Russell T. Davies, originally airing June 11th, 2005, and the second part airing June 18th, 2005.
And here we are at the two-part finale.
And
the ending of the ninth Doctor.
Christopher Eccleston's run as the Doctor.
Yeah. So.
Bad Wolf. One of my actually, like, favorite opening bits to an episode. Like, I love this, like, opening half to the episode. Even the, like, cold open, essentially, of being like, yo, on the Big Brother house.
Oh, yes.
So
in this episode,
we come back to
Station 5.
Yeah, Station 5, which is now a gaming show network, essentially, with a bunch of reality TV show with a bunch of, The Weakest Link. We got Big Brother and Robot's Next Home Makeover or whatever.
Which really shows that Jack Harkness was, like, just kind of shoot in at the last minute.
Right. I love that.
But it's fine. It's fine. Especially when he pulls a gun out of his butt.
Yeah. Anyway. So, but we find out, the Doctor's like, wait, this is not how history is supposed to be. I thought I fixed history last time when we went to Channel 5. And the companion that he's with at the Big Brother house reveals, oh no, that's when everything went wrong, actually. Kind of saying that history splintered in a different way than it was supposed to.
Yeah, because of the Doctor's basically chose to stop the news delivering Station 5 as it existed in the first deviation of the timeline. The entirety of humanity kind of fell apart because there was no network communications, no news to connect anyone, and kind of things kind of fell into ruin.
And in that time, a mysterious force has come forth to control the human race. It's the Daleks. They're back. And the Dalek Emperor's here.
Oh, what a fake
God of all Daleks.
And here I thought the Daleks were done for sure.
Totes.
Oh my god. So the Doctor has to use whatever resources he has in Station 5 to stop the Daleks once and for all.
But it ain't gonna be that easy.
It ain't gonna be that easy.
It's either sacrifice all of humanity right then, or, Or let humanity be taken by Daleks.
Yeah, by Daleks.
And he actually makes the hard choice of sending Rose back to her time, and is like, Earth will die in, hundreds of thousands of years, but you will get to live your life.
Yeah.
And she solves it by remembering, hey, the heart of the TARDIS, it has its own mind, essentially. What if I open that, and it'll take me back to the Doctor? We also get this really heartfelt message of the Doctor being like, if you see this message, I'm dead or about to die or whatever.
Yeah.
But Rose saves the day by harnessing the heart of the TARDIS, all that ever was, ever could be, ever will be inside her brain, erases the Daleks, brings Captain Jack Harkness back to life.
So that he can go to Torchwood.
But it's burning her up inside. So the Doctor kisses her, takes the energy of the TARDIS, but it's killing him now.
Yep.
So he must, at the end of the episode, regenerate.
And that leads into the second series.
With David Tennant as the Doctor.
David Tennant as the Doctor. Which apparently, by the way, as it says in the Wikipedia page, David Tennant was cast as the Doctor before the first series even aired.
Yeah.
So they knew.
They knew who was going to replace Eccleston.
Yeah. Which is cool.
Yeah.
That's a kind of foresight that I don't think Moffat would ever fucking bother to do. Anyhow,
anyway.
Don't worry, we'll continue to step on Moffat.
We'll continue to stomp on Moffat next season.
There's plenty of stomping to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry for the clapping.
Bad Wolf.
Bad Wolf. Now.
Oh yes, the culmination of what is Bad Wolf.
The culmination of what is Bad Wolf. Now, I'm gonna be entirely honest and admit that I feel like it doesn't go as far as I would have liked. But the fact that Bad Wolf comes back is a thing that people reference later on. I think that's completely fine. It feels almost very comic book-y.
Yeah.
Whereas like, there's this one thing, and I like that.
Even in the series, the season finale of season 2, it actually comes back, which is really good.
So that I'm fine with. Yeah. And even if I'm not super happy with the execution of it, I like the history that it creates. Yeah. And I like that...
It ultimately leads to what happens.
And also, I just want to say this right now, I love that the problem of the day, of the season, is solved by the companion.
Yeah, not the Doctor.
And the companion doing something that the Doctor would never do. And
could never do, probably.
Yeah. And I think that right there is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, can you believe how weird it is that the story empowers Rose Tyler to save the day,
to save the person that she loves.
I don't know how to express this other than just to say that the Doctor Who is a show about a white man going through space and funny adventures with a female companion most of the time, and that can be there are so many avenues for that.
Pitfalls.
There's some very easy pitfalls, and I'm sure that Moffat's going to stumble on each and every single one of those. I have no faith in Moffat whatsoever. Right. But I love that the solution to the problem was Rose Tyler taking control, putting her own future at risk, her own life at risk, almost turning her back on her family and friends to save the Doctor. That's so awesome.
It's so powerful.
It's so powerful. And welcome back to the segment of the show where Max saw a gift set and misread a complete situation.
Oh yeah. Coward every time.
A coward every time. I feel like that actually played out just about as well as I thought it would play out in my mind.
It's a very subdued moment. Yeah. Which actually works for...
And again, I really like that moment because I know that I've been talking about this a lot, and I know that it feels like I'm just grinding and bringing home the same point every single time again. But it's weirdly refreshing in a show that is 15 years old to see a moment in which...
Like 50 years old.
Well, 15 in the case of this particular episode. 15. Because it came out 15 years ago.
Yes. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, this episode came out 15 years ago.
Yes.
And it would have been incredibly easy. It would have been absolutely easy. It would have been the easiest thing to do to have the Doctor have a toxic masculinity moment where he's like, no, I'm going to destroy you because I get to be the one in power. I get to do what I want.
Yeah.
And Eccleston does a fantastic performance as he just, will I
nuke the entire world to save,
Yeah. Or will I be a coward and a coward every time?
Yeah.
And I feel like that moment where he shows weakness, where he shows that he will not, in fact, destroy all of humanity to stop the Daleks.
That he can't.
That's so good there.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of male characters in fiction embody the toxic masculinity elements of being powerful and headstrong.
And I will destroy the villains no matter the cost.
Yeah, I will destroy the villains even if it destroys me and everyone I love and everything I care about.
Yeah.
And I feel like, it's so weirdly refreshing in a show that is 15 years old to have a character that has that level of depth, and I really love that.
It's so good.
And I feel like that's a culmination of Eccleston as the Ninth Doctor.
Yes, is that he's this, war-torn, very PTSD'd, like, person who's trying to just live his best life to save everyone that he can, but he can't all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it's just part of his job, basically, is that he cannot save everyone.
Yeah, and I feel like that brings us back full circle, especially because I imagine, again, they're playing the Doctor as this man who survived war by doing everything that he could, and I love that there's a conversation between him and the Daleks.
Yeah.
And it's like, how did you survive?
Yeah.
How come you're still here? And we have, again, this moment where he can fix everything. He can make everything right. He can make the sacrifice of his people worthwhile, be worth something.
Right.
And he realizes that he could just... the ultimate price of war and the value of lives, and continuing to cycle on this cycle... perpetual cycle of violence.
Yeah.
And he decides that he won't do that anymore.
Yeah, he can't do it anymore.
He can't do that anymore.
He can't sacrifice the entire Earth to defeat his most hated rival.
Yeah. And I feel like maybe this brings us back to Boomtown. It's like, like, what does that make you ultimately?
Yeah, exactly. A killer or, judge, jury, and executioner.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
There's a lot of moral questions in this that I really love.
And the fact that we can have this conversation, I feel like that just shows how well written the show is.
Yeah. Also, though, the Big Brother and the Weakest Link and the fucking makeover, they're so good, though.
Again, I know I joked about it, but I love... See... Generally, I would be like, no, it's fucking stupid that Jack Harkness pulled a gun out of his butt.
It's fine, it's just...
But I feel like it works. I feel like if there is anyone in the universe...
who could pull a gun out of his
ass, it would be Jack Harkness.
Yeah, exactly.
I like to keep this one for Close Encounters. I really like that we follow a couple characters.
We follow, God, what is her name? It's something with like another spelling.
Yeah. But we follow characters, right? And I love that we get to see their little plot and even like the little developments, like
between the two guys working up at the control center. We haven't even talked about that lady at the top of the tower who was basically bred to be like the circular the
computer to the
exactly
for the network. Yeah.
And I love her character moment because even though we don't get to know her very well, she's still like, when the solar flare goes up and communications goes down, she, becomes brave and she's like, Doctor, I need to tell you there's something more going on here. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, no, that again, a lot of really good, powerful moments in this season finale.
And the other one in Parting of the Ways of Rose asking Jackie and Mickey to help her.
Yeah, that's right, yes.
Get the heart of the TARDIS out. And at first Jackie's like, you're crazy, you can't do this. And then she comes back with the fucking tow truck and is like, we've got the rental for an hour.
Oh, that's so good.
It's so like chills. And then all three of them working together to help Rose.
It's weird for me because in retrospect, now that we're actually really analyzing all the pieces of Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways, I feel like it's swelling up in my heart.
Yeah.
I'm seeing all of the really good things in it, and I can't find anything that really like bothered me. Yeah. And I feel like comes up in other season finales.
Yeah.
Where like I feel like that there's a little bit of a tarnish there. These are two really good episodes.
They're two really good episodes.
Now,
saying that, of course, the Daleks being back is the
Daleks being back is the one thing where I'm just kind of like I just wish that Doctor Who had more villains than
well, it's
these guys and the Cybermen, but I understand that like
recognizability
for the show coming back,
I
get that, and it's probably never gonna get fixed because we're in the past and there's already like 13 seasons out.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of seasons out.
There's a lot.
But it's a thing where like I just wish there was more variety. Like I wish it didn't have to always be the Dalek or the Cyberman.
These weren't the two iconic monsters, basically.
Yeah.
And actually season 3 fixes that by adding the Weeping Angels.
Yeah.
As a New Who iconic monster.
Yeah.
But again, like, it's one of those things that's brand recognizability, and I get it.
Yeah. It's just I guess it's like the D&D thing where like I just wish the big baddie wasn't a Mind Flayer or a Beholder.
Yeah.
I just wish like we didn't have to go there every single time.
Every single time, exactly.
But and the one thing I gotta say, because we everybody knows this, we already said this before, probably the best double episode of Doctor Who is The Impossible Planet.
Yes, love that episode.
And it's funny because in my mind, Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways is almost there.
It's super close because it balances the fun romp adventures of the Doctor and co, and the also seriousness of, all these moral choices and dilemmas that the Doctor is facing.
Yeah.
It really balances that out really well because Bad Wolf is more or less the comedy part of it, and then it bleeds into the kind of the choices, the hard choices that the Doctor and Rose has to make.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we won't even, talk about Jack Harkness being brought back to life and then stranded in the future.
Yeah, but in the past, actually.
No, he's in the future.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. How does he get back to the year? We'll figure it out later.
It'll get explained at some point.
Eventually.
At some point.
But definitely, again, I feel like if you've seen Doctor Who, you know The Impossible Planet, and you know why it's so fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But, like, it's so weird seeing how
good
with the limited budget that they had.
Yes.
Because, they're reusing sets.
Yeah.
And they're reusing 3D assets in the form of the Daleks.
Yeah.
It's like they're reusing what they have to tell a really good, effective two-parter. And we start with comedy and with this
ridiculous it's Big Brother house number 572.
Or it's the weakest link.
Yeah.
And like these games were ultimately like the whole idea is that people die when they lose, but they don't.
They don't. They just get sent to the Daleks and then die.
Yeah. So like but it's that comedy and that weirdness that settles you in for when things get serious. Because I feel like, again, and this is something that I've brought up many times before, but like it's easier to be attached to something when you come into it with a bit of a lightheartedness kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's easier to be affected by the seriousness.
Both sides
of it.
Yeah.
As opposed to if the show started serious. If it started at 100% serious and then it had funny moments.
Yeah, then it would feel like the tone is a little off.
Yeah.
And then even small things in these episodes, like the guy that Rose is against in The Weakest Link, he's being this absolute, basically dick and is voting people off just to make sure that Rose is his final opponent because she doesn't know anything because she's from the 21st century. And in the second episode, you get to see him, stranded and trapped, and you actually kind of feel for him when he gets demolished.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
You feel bad for when the Daleks go down and they kill everyone else that's still in the station. You feel bad for this guy, even though he was kind of a dick.
It's true,
and I love that about Doctor Who is that you feel bad for these people that you just met.
Yeah, and of course this. The Parting of the Ways ends with the Doctor regenerating, and I feel like this is they have to do this for Doctor Who. They have to show you what the regeneration looks like, so that you have a reason to keep watching next week. But there's a little bit of a dissonance between we had this really strong emotional moment between the Ninth Doctor and Rose, and then there's that David Tennant right there.
Yeah, and then David Tennant comes in and is like, Barcelona then.
Barcelona.
You're right.
And I feel like that there's a little bit because. I feel like Rose would need 10 minutes to settle emotionally before.
Yeah, and she does get a whole episode to basically settle, which is good. She really needed that.
Yeah.
That's the Christmas episode.
And again, that's the TV part of this show, where it's we have to give you this thing of what the next Doctor looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's fine.
So you come back next season.
And
I'm sure everyone was very excited for David Tennant.
Yeah. And I feel like with this, you want to just go into closing points?
Yeah.
Well, that's. Unless, is there anything else you want to say about Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways?
It's just a good two-parter. It's a good season finale.
It's right up there with the best of Doctor Who, I think.
I think so. So overall, Max, you have seen the first season of Doctor Who, of New Who. What did you think of it?
Honestly, it was fun. I feel like the number one thing I can say about Doctor Who is that it is definitely fun weird and exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that this encapsulates the things that I'm learning to love about Doctor Who is the weirdness of it.
Yeah.
The weird alien races, the weird planets that they go to, the weird situations that still encourage conversations about morality and about, things that are very much real to us.
Mm-hmm.
The season does definitely start a little bit.
It's definitely a training wheels season.
Yeah, it definitely, like, again, the further you get into the series, the better that it gets.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, like, there's still some, relatively good episodes. Like, there's things I like about the end of the world, and especially about Rose, the very first episode.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely, the budget isn't there, and all the moving pieces are not there yet.
They don't quite fit.
Yeah, especially for the really good episodes that are coming up. Like, the beginning of season 2 feels a lot, it definitely feels like everybody got their shit
footing,
together.
Yeah.
Just looking at the season as a series of episodes,
mm-hmm.
There's a lot of episodes that I really liked here.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, like, Dalek stands out for me,
yeah.
Even though it has Fuckboy McGee in it.
Fucking Adam.
I really liked seeing the Dalek. I had never ever seen what Daleks look like inside of the armor. And I just love the idea of this tiny little alien that is basically living inside of a battle tank. I just think
it's just
it's
a
really
pile
cool.
of goop living in a battle tank.
That's so sci-fi,
right?
And it's so because I get a lot of people when they write sci-fi, they want it to be sexy sci-fi. They want sexy aliens, and they want everything to kind of just be.
Titillate.
Well, yes, but they don't want it to be troublesome or make you think about unfortunate things in any way, shape, or form. It's a very safe sci-fi.
Yeah.
And I just love the idea that, like, these were once humans.
Yeah.
And they removed all feelings from them except for hatred, and now they just are born and bred inside of battle tanks.
Yeah.
And I think that that's just so fucking old science fiction that I can't help but just like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Father's Day, really strong. Even after all the things I said about The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances, I think I still like those episodes.
They're still great episodes.
Even if they're not what I thought they were going to be, the production value is way higher in those episodes.
Yeah.
And Jack Harkness is probably my second favorite thing about this entire season, even though he comes in very late.
Yeah.
I just love Jack Harkness. And I gotta say, this feels weird to me because Rose gets so much better on the next season.
She actually really does.
That's not to say that she was bad in this season.
No, they set up a lot of things. They set up a lot of things
for her. And the arc of Rose is literally season 1 and 2, where, like, if you were watching, as we are talking about things, you're halfway through her story.
Yeah.
And she has a really good conclusion in the second season, but we gotta get there.
Yeah.
Right now, I gotta say that I love Jack Harkness, and I love Eccleston as the Ninth Doctor. He does a fucking fantastic job.
Yeah.
He really sells me on that character who, like, and I know that, like, they probably didn't fully mean this. If they were rewriting this show, like, right now, there would be a lot more discussion of his PTSD.
Yeah, yeah.
But you definitely see it in the way that he sometimes kind of lashes out. And I know that we talked about this a week ago when we were first recording this.
Right.
But, like, the moments in which, like, you see the sadness that war inspires in him.
Exactly. The anger and bitterness.
The build-up anger and bitterness. And how he's trying to cope with it by being this really silly man.
Yeah.
And just going on a crazy adventure and basically just, not a dopamine junkie, but basically someone just, like, distracting himself from the questions, from his feelings and the unanswered questions in his mind. Like, was it worth it?
Right, exactly.
Was the war worth it?
Was losing my entire people worth it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
Absolutely.
My only negative about this season is that because it does feel like training wheels, I feel like we didn't fully get to enjoy Eccleston being the Doctor.
That's super fair.
And I would have loved to see even just one more season with Eccleston.
Yeah.
But I do feel like they did a really good job transitioning him into Tennant as the next Doctor. Yeah. Like I appreciate everything that they did in season 1, even if Eccleston only got one season, just to set up even more coming forward.
Yeah.
So that's my only holdup with season 1 is that since it was so new and so like trying to do its own thing, it feels like Eccleston didn't get a full season. He got like a half season. Yeah. But I still appreciate what they did for his Doctor.
It very much feels like someone's first novel. It has that element where I'm like, I really like what you were doing here, but I wish there had been more of this one character.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
that's, we get what we get, and we appreciate what we got.
And this came out 15 years ago, and we can't be so mad about it.
Right, exactly. Eccleston's been in other things since then. Like fucking Thor, The Dark World, or whatever.
That was half the reason I wanted to watch that. No, that was 99%
most of the reason. Let's be real.
Did we see it in theaters?
We did see it in theaters. And I was like, look, it's the Doctor.
It's the Doctor.
And you were like, what? I don't know.
Who's the Doctor?
Who the fuck's that?
I don't think that he's got a degree. Please show me your degree.
Please show me your PhD.
Kitty, is there anything else you want to say about Doctor Who Season 1 of New Who?
New Who. Man, it's good. They set up a lot of stuff.
Dear listener, if you enjoyed listening to us talk about Doctor Who, tune in tomorrow for the first episode of the Doctor Who
tier list.
Yeah, we're gonna do a tier list where we're gonna basically put every episode of New Who, and
against
we're gonna start.
Other.
Yep, and we're gonna start with Season 1.
All these episodes that we just talked about.
If you enjoyed us talking, if you had fun while you were drawing or doing homework or just trying to kill some time in self-isolation, please consider leaving a like and leaving a comment, telling us that you had fun. That actually means the world to us. It brightens our day.
Making a dumb joke about something we said. That always brightens our day.
As people who created anime content for several years, most of the comments we get are people telling us that we're stupid and dumb and our opinions are wrong. In spite of the fact that, like, how can we be wrong if we didn't waste our life watching One Piece episodes? Just think about that. Again, if you enjoyed, consider leaving a like, a sweet comment, and hit the bell to be notified of the next time that Daleks come back into the show. It won't be very long.
It's gonna be, like final 5 episodes.
Yeah, and these take a long time to make, and a lot of effort. It took us 2 weeks to record it.
Yeah.
So if you really enjoy it, if you really, really like what we do, consider just donating $1 on our Patreon page. Links to all that stuff in the description below. We haven't talked about this in forever, but we gotta talk about it so that people know how they can support us.
Yep.
And for now,
come back tomorrow for the tier list, and sometime in the future for Season 2.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Wow!
Dango Who?